All right, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks here for a little bit. Look, this is a team coming off, of course, their playoff appearance last season. They got a lot of young, great talent. They got some key veterans as well. Pete Carroll doing a great job. John Schneider, GM, good leadership at the top of the organization. And as we've gone through the first wave of the offseason, there's been a lot of teams in the headlines making a lot of big-time moves. But I've got a report here, Miles, that shows the Seahawks may have, at this point, as good an offseason as anybody in the NFC.
Yeah, Nick, it really does seem like a really strong offseason. And me and you, we can sit here and talk all night about it, but it isn't our opinion that really matters. It's the fans' opinion. And that's why today in the comments below, we want you to let us know. Give us your grade of what the Seahawks offseason has been. And let us know why you think that it is what it is. We're interested to hear what you have to say. And obviously why you think this Seahawks offseason has been as good as it is. Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, let's get into the story you have of what kind of moves and why they're so good the Seahawks have been making.
Yeah, so when you're in a team like the Seahawks, right, they have a lot of the core pieces in place. You do not want to upset the apple cart because the teams that seem to win the offseason, they make the headline-grabbing moves, the moves that show up on the ESPN and NFL.com blotter. And those are the teams that everyone talks about, oh, great offseason, did a great job. But that doesn't always seem to be the case. Whoever wins the offseason in that regard usually doesn't win the regular season. It's the teams that makes the under-the-radar smart moves, right? And so that's why when I look at grading the offseason to see how teams are doing, I don't look at the headlines because it's kind of emotional. I love to look at the cold, hard data, and there's no one better at that than Pro Football Focus. They just look at the analytics. They look at the talent coming in versus the talent going out based on the formula to see how teams did. And according to PFF, the Seattle Seahawks had the third best offseason so far of any team in the NFC. They gave them a B+ rating for the moves they've made. And it's kind of interesting to say because when you look at in terms of the big scheme of NFL teams, the Seahawks have been relatively quiet, right? Obviously, the Geno Smith re-signing was huge. It's a great deal. Draymond Jones is a great player. You bring in Jerron Reed, signing Julian Love to help shore up the back end. You look at a lot of the moves the Seahawks have made, far from headline grabbing, right? But a lot of really smart moves that just shows that Schneider and company are doing a great job managing this roster and putting themselves in a strong position, both for the short and the long term. Give me your thoughts on the Seahawks, Mize, and this grade and just everything so far with this team in particular.
Yeah, Nick, it's not too surprising to me knowing how the Seahawks have been the last couple of years. Ever since the trade of Russell Wilson, maybe at first people are like, oh, it's like you allude to. The Broncos got a great grade for that. And that is, the perfect example of a big splashy move that doesn't exactly pay off. The Seahawks seem much better off in that trade. Think about the Cleveland Browns. They're always signing all kinds of talent. Never really pans out the way that they expect it to. But the Seahawks, moving off guys ever since last year and then bringing back the right type of players to this team, of course they're going to have a good grade because the people who know what they're talking about when they look at these moves are going to say, that's a really good deal for this player. You're getting good quality talent at a great price. And that's what the Seahawks have seemed to do all offseason. Whether it's a really bargain price for a top 10 quarterback this past season in Geno Smith, whether in that move opens up the move to be able to sign Drew Lock back on a 1-year, $4 million deal, have a quality backup quarterback who already knows the system. Huge. You look at what your last backup did. That was Geno Smith. He moved in, and now he's a starter-level quarterback for you. You look at the Evan Brown signing to shore up the offensive line depth. You look at Draymond Jones and Jerron Reed to shore up the D-line. The Devin Bush, you're going to be able to get another experimental linebacker, see if you can whip him into shape. The Julian Love signing, really love that one too. But when you look at all these, they're all really compact contracts, 3 years or less on all of them, for all really, really good prices, Nick. And that's what Schneider and Carroll have been doing all offseason. That's why I'm not surprised at all that they are the third best team in the NFC as far as the best offseason grade. Because if you look at it on paper, maybe nothing flashy, but if you get into the stats, you get into the numbers, these have all been very, very good moves by the Seahawks.
Yeah, especially I think I got to go back to the Geno Smith deal because when you look at a deeper look at that contract and everything is opened up for the Seahawks. So looking at his annual rate right now, Geno Smith, if things go terrible and just doesn't work out very well at all, he's still getting paid less than the franchise tag. So think about it for a second. They signed Geno Smith to a team-friendly deal for the duration of 3 years, right? cheaper than the franchise tag. You got quality quarterbacks that, frankly, last year weren't as good as Geno Smith that would not be happy with playing for the franchise tag. Daniel Jones is a great example. Look at what the Giants did there. I don't think that was a good move by the Giants paying Daniel Jones that money. I think what the Seahawks were able to throw at Geno Smith was an outstanding move, especially that Geno Smith agreed to it as well. You look at the players that walked in free agency. Look at Penny. It's like, listen, you don't want running backs. You don't want to pay them a lot of money. It's just the way it is in the NFL. He's happy to walk, right? Or I'm sure the Seahawks are happy to let him walk. And I think when you look at the core of everything Seattle has done, they kept what really matters to their team, their culture, their drive, their youth, their energy, still all focused and heading in the right direction. The players they've added will just accelerate the direction they're going in, and the players that left won't hurt them that much in that long run. And I think that's why when you look at the analytics here, it just shows the Seahawks have had one outstanding offseason.